Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Manuel, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Spence.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Katie's here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Nick is not going to be here today, and I got word that it's his birthday. So happy birthday, Nick.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Oh,
And Gal will probably show up. I mean, I didn't hear that he's not going to be here. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear.
and the reason we started late was because we just got back from the coast where we watched them shoot the balloon down.
Yeah.
So we just got in
Where did they shoot it?
out in the one off the coast of South Carolina. And
Yeah.
Oh,
I
wow.
keep hearing about Myrtle Beach. So
Yeah.
people that are on vacation right now to escape the blizzard up north enjoyed a show.
They should have shot it down in Alaska the first time they saw it. Unbelievable. It finished its
Yeah.
mission.
Yeah.
And they let it do everything. It's well, it's a weather balloon, and we didn't want to shoot it down over land and all that. Well, you should have done it in Alaska because there's nothing there.
Yep. Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Well, another
Yeah.
shall we say,
So,
interesting episode.
I did something that I never thought I would do this week. I took one of the older laptop that I have here, and it's a 8th generation i3, and I said, well, let's see if I can install Windows 11.
Ah,
So first I had to get a battery for it because the battery was gone. And then I went ahead and I got the PC Health app and ran it. And it said, and it had Windows 10 on it. And it said that it needs to use UEFI. Because without secure boot, Windows 11 cannot be installed. I said, oh, well, let me go to the BIOS. BIOS, yeah, there is. It was on legacy. I changed it to UEFI. Had to completely reformat and do the whole thing. But it took it. And it's working pretty nice.
how much memory?
So 6. I mean, it passed all the tests that Microsoft said would do. And talking about that, I don't know that I kept the story, but with Windows 11 22H2, which is the latest release, some or all of the installations that people installed Windows 11, even though they weren't compatible, but they found a way around it, are going to not get any more updates.
Ooh,
They kind of
That-
figured out the way how to do that.
Wait a minute, because my old computer is Windows 10.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and I tried to upload it or update it to 11, and it said it couldn't do it. So
right.
I just ignored it. I mean, I didn't update it. I was just like,
That's
whatever, I
fine.
guess. So,
That's okay.
but so are you saying other people that weren't like me, they're like they forced it to go to
There
11?
there are ways, I don't know how, but there are ways if you read online. Good morning, Gal. Uh, you you will see there are ways to fool the operating system to install on something that's not compatible. And
See that
I don't know how.
I want to know why it didn't update because it didn't tell me. It just said
There is
it.
so you can download, they call it, I think they call it PC Health.
Does anybody know like the common reason? Like maybe the computer's too old or something? I don't know.
It doesn't have a TPM module.
Yeah, it has to have TPM and it has to be UEFI for sure.
What's a TPM? I don't know.
Trusted protection module, right?
Basically some hardware that is used for security.
Yeah, it's an
Okay.
encryption device that allows the machine to process encryption for it's
This process also
it's just instead of having it done in software, it's done in hardware.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so people figured out ways how to go around all these limitations and install Windows 11 anyway. So now Microsoft said that with 22H, that Windows 11 22H2 is going to figure out if you did that, and it's not going to give you any more updates.
So there.
So there, yeah,
yeah, that'll last like a week.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm so
It's not
confused
it-
though, because what's the alternative? So like the reason why these people upgraded to 11 was probably because 10 is obsolete, right? And so
Well,
they
10,
want
no,
the
no, no, 10 is
no,
not
no, I
obsolete.
know, but
Yeah,
what I'm saying general things.
yeah,
And because theoretically they're going to stop updating Windows 10 stuff, right?
correct.
Like, yeah. I mean, granted, this is me as a layman just thinking about it, like why I would want to go to 11. It's like, okay, well, they're going to eventually stop updating the 10 for security reasons, blah 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 blah. I better be on 11. So either way, I guess the people are kind of screwed.
This is,
Well,
yeah, this
They're
is,
expecting people to update the hardware. That's what they're expecting.
yeah,
it's welcome
that,
to the Apple
yeah,
model.
they don't want them.
Yeah,
They don't want older hardware out there because now it's like for Windows 10, you could go back as far as you want to go. Well, not as far as you want to go, way back into the legacy machines that will work. They might work slowly, but they just don't want to have to support that gigantic amount of machines.
Right.
right. But hold on. TPM can be an add-on module. It doesn't have to be part of the CPU. So you
Or you
can
could use a
still,
USB based one.
right, you can
Yeah.
still furbish an old computer by buying a TPM add-on, right? So it's not impossible, but it's definitely an inconvenience.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was, before you came on, yeah, I was saying that I took a laptop and installed Windows 11 on it. But
Yeah,
I had to change the format. I had to completely reformat and make it UEFI because it will not work. It will not install unless you UEFI. And you can't.
that's a good thing.
Well, no, no, it's a good thing, but I don't think you can do anything. I mean, if you have a Windows 10 machine that has, that you just want to upgrade and it's got a bunch of programs, I don't know that you can do it because you have to reformat. It's a format thing. So
Well,
you have to, I had to completely, I mean, there was nothing on the computer. So I just reformatted. I mean, I started doing it and I said, yeah, format it. I had to change it in the BIOS to do UEFI instead of uh
right.
legacy, and then install it, and it did it, and it finished. It
The
had TPM.
requiring- the reason it's requiring UEFI is not because UEFI is because secure boot
Yeah,
uses
secure boot. Right.
right. So I mean,
I mean,
yeah, but
is there a way to make the
2004 has UEFI, right? So it's like we're talking like every feasible hardware we want to install Windows 10 on, right?
Would have it.
Or that. What's missing is TPM 2.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't subscribe to this being going the Apple way, because Apple never even never provides solution other than this is the way.
Right.
Uh,
Well, Microsoft is saying that you're gonna have to have newer hardware. That's it.
have TPM2.
Yeah.
They say specifically the piece of hardware that
Yeah.
you need might be missing that you can add, right? So
Okay,
is
so
it
let's tell people how do you add the TPM2? Is it a piece of software that you download and put it on a flash, or you buy a
on
module,
software?
a dongle?
There's an option for a software-based driver that emulates TPM2. You do not want that. Performance-wise, and it's great for development, nothing more.
So what do you do?
You buy a piece of hardware.
When you say you buy a piece of hardware,
If you have a machine with a slot, you buy something that you put in a slot. If you don't have that slot, sometimes the slot can look very much like a M2 slot. So there's options like that that sits on the motherboard. But there are also USB based solution, and
but
some of them
these slots are made just for TPM, or they are
I do not know.
okay.
I think they're sort of a PCI interface. M2
Okay.
is a PCI interface, right?
Okay.
So something like that.
I think the USB ones are hardware, but they are specific hardware because of they do offload it to the processor on board. It's not just a storage device. If I remember right, I know somebody that used that. His company required that he had a TPM module for their login, for the remote access login. It had to be there,
Hmm.
and it was part of the encryption that they used without putting it. It's like a dongle type of setup or a secure ID type setup where you would plug this in and it would authenticate you and go.
Well, so anyway,
I'll look that up. I'll find out. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a specific USB type of USB device.
I know there are some stuff for motherboards. I'm not sure about USB.
but you have to have a PCI or some other kind of
Yeah, there's always some sort of interface that's
okay.
possible.
All right. So yeah, that laptop is working fine with Windows 11, and now that when I need to tell somebody how to do something in Windows 11, I can just fire it up and it goes.
For
Excellent.
Windows 11, because
Mhm.
I had to reinstall everything on my computer.
Yeah.
And,
So now you can tell us.
uh, that was annoying me in my previous installation is I had hacked uh, the taskbar. One of the things I really like about customization and the ability of making a system your own is screens today are wider than they are taller. And so I really like my taskbar on the side, either right or left, depending on my setup.
Bleh. I
Because
hate putting it on the left.
you're not losing
There's a
real estate.
lot of reasons of why. I can explain every single one of them. But the bottom line is, with Windows 11, they kicked that option out. They even kicked out the option of taking, let's say, the taskbar from the bottom to the top. But unless you hack some registry keys and stuff like that, but you couldn't do anything to put it to the side other than disable completely the module that handles the Windows 11 taskbar and start menu, and replace it with some backward compatible
Hmm.
start customized start menu from a third party vendor. It worked on my previous setup, but it was ugly and it had some annoyances. And I didn't install that same hack on the new system. And I was looking around and I finally found a solution. It's not free, it's not open source, unfortunately. Uh, it's cheap. It's about $5 for a machine, and if you buy three, you can pay 12. It's like it's reasonable,
Mhm.
really reasonable pricing.
Absolutely.
And it's a Russian developer who figured
Uh-oh.
no, he's been doing this for a while. He's been doing this for Windows 10 as well. Some customization of the start menu, very similar to what um, Open
Shit.
Start Shell did.
Yeah.
But because he asks for money, maybe I don't know. Maybe he has just a bit more resource to do that. It works fantastically well. Uh, the software is lightweight. It actually doesn't run a process of its own. It just adds a DLL to be loaded to the Windows Explorer shell.
Mm.
Um, the visuals are clean. They are practically embedded with what the system is set up, so he doesn't interfere too much. He just uses whatever the set up in the system. He can provide a lot of customization. I don't use that. I just want the stuff to be on the side. And um, I am taking my hat off. This is one piece of software that I have no problem paying, just like I paid for Windows, right? So, and
Yeah.
I
So,
can't recommend it enough. Called Start All Back. Very simple name. Uh, I checked when you search for it, that's usually one of the top results. So,
Gal, can you can you figure out or think why would Microsoft not allow you to move the
they, ans-
taskbar?
they answered about it and they say they just don't care. What they
It's
said.
that's it.
Like
Damn.
literally, they said the amount of requests around this feature is very small. The redesign of the software, the refactoring of the software for it to properly support it is too large, and for now they are not looking into solving it.
Okay.
And this is the quote that they provided when they introduced Windows 11, and they were bombarded with questions about it from the blogosphere. So
Hmm.
yeah, an official answer and say basically we don't care. One very interesting thing though, I remember for Windows 10, for Windows 7, for even Windows
Yeah.
XP, there were tons of software suites, either paid or open source or otherwise, freeware or freemium, that were all about modification of how the system looks. There was one very popular application called Rocket Dock, for example. Also, I don't think it was open source, but it was freeware. It had a marketplace where you could buy, themes and stuff. Theming of Windows in general was like a huge thing. There was a lot of options.
That people wanted their newer operating system to look like their old one. That was the main thing. You
Classic shell.
Oh,
Classic shell. Yeah.
something like that. Anyway, keep going.
but what I'm talking about is people wanted to be able to customize how their environment looks, and let's say make it look more like a Mac, or make it look like something else, right? Or have it make it completely your own.
Mhm.
And it was a big deal. Uh, but somewhere for Windows, and this is around the maturity of Windows 10 and Windows 11 introduction, all of these have disappeared or been dropped. Most of these projects have stopped being updated past 2012, 2013, some even sooner, right? And the internet is has a lot of these options. They stopped working for 2000 for Windows 10, like a long time ago. Even Open Classic Shell, right? Classic Start menu. Even that dropped and became open source with Open Shell. So it's like, and even that is really buggy with Windows 11. It's really bizarre that that whole section of customization died off. It's like the younger generation who came into this because this has to do with generational knowledge and interest is just not interested in doing that anymore. The tinkering, the tweaking. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is you can look at it as 20 years ago I bought a hammer and I wanted to put a rubber handle on it and I wanted it to be shiny and I wanted it to be red. You know, this was my first hammer that I bought. Today, I just want a hammer, so it doesn't matter anymore. The way that they come at the store on the wall, the many times as I have to use it, it doesn't matter anymore what it looks like. So I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, but there's nobody coming into the hammer market, right? Like you were at the beginning and thinking,
Right.
I want
Okay.
any hammer. That's the thing.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
what's missing.
Yeah.
It's like that part, developers around the fad isn't about modifying your OS anymore, for example,
Hmm.
or about uh,
Using it.
making the new and shiny website instead, right? Something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's like the focus has shifted.
Just
Yeah.
had this discussion with my daughter yesterday because she's getting a new laptop from her company, and they're installing on it because of the, the base of people that work for this company are not technology people; they're salespeople. So they're putting tools on there to make Windows 11 look like Windows 10, whatever they're using. I'm not sure what they're using,
Uh,
but it was an interesting discussion. So they're going to put that stuff on there, and I said, well, you know what? I have my first Windows. Actually using now my first Windows 11 laptop in production. I don't want to change it. I need to learn how it works. I need to
Yeah,
learn
but they
if
don't
somebody
want
asks me a question. I
they
need
don't
to know
want the
how to,
learning curve. They want
and
people
that's
to
it.
be yeah.
These are salespeople that do not take well. They sell building supplies. They don't
Yeah.
want to have to learn something new on their
And
computer.
it is, I mean, here, this is from my experience now. It's really is confusing and I don't understand why. Like for instance, you have that widget at the bottom that when you hover over it, it opens up the weather and stories and all that. In Windows 10, you just right click on the taskbar and there is the thing, and you said, don't open on hover and all that. I tried and I looked and I looked and I looked. I couldn't find out how to do it. I had to go to Google and do a search how to turn it off. One of
Yep.
those things that I was trying to do, I had to enter a whole line of code into the run field. I can't remember what it was, but there were little things that were very easy to do in Windows 10. It's like no, that's not important anymore.
One thing I liked Windows 10 did was you could turn on an option in the taskbar to say show all icons.
Yeah. Oh, that's the one. That's the
And
one.
now you
Yeah.
have to go in. The only thing you can do is there's a certain fixed amount that can be there.
No, no,
And
no.
everything else gets a carrot you got to go up to. And you have to turn
And
individual
actually,
ones on
no,
and off.
no, no, no. You
depending
can.
on
What?
I'm not. You have so because you cannot customize the taskbar, you
Yeah.
can't even make it higher. You can't
Right.
do it. Right? So on a small screen, you will have limited space for the taskbars or the task icons, the small ones, because they do show one after the other,
Yeah.
right, in a
Yeah.
long row, because you cannot widen or you cannot make any modifications. You can't do right. So if it gets close to the center, it'll stack up. You do not have the ability of telling it, look differently.
Well, I mean, when I went in there, you can turn each one which way you
Individually, on and
want,
off.
but above the whole thing in very little text, it says show all system tray icons. And I had to do a search on it to find out, and I couldn't see it even. It was so small. But finally, oh, there it is. Click, bam, everything shows up. Now, yeah,
This is on Windows 10.
11.
On 11, you could do it in 11?
Yeah. There is a screen that you go in that lets you do each one you can check to see if you
I
want.
saw that, and that's when I searched. That's where it's people just said this is the only thing you can do. You can't do
No,
anything
and
else.
above it, I saw it and I clicked it finally. I said, "Oh, there it is. It says show all system tray or some notification uh, icons."
When
I
you
can't remember.
small carrot, you get
Yeah,
custom notification icons, right?
right. I don't have the carrot anymore, but I don't have that many. Remember, this is not something that has anything else other than the OS installed on it. So I don't know what happens if it moves, it starts moving. And also, you want to move. I don't like it in the center, the taskbar icons. I want them to be on the left, like Windows 10. So there is a way to do it, but it's not that easy. So you have to go and search and find and oh, okay, that's how you do it.
There are changes, I would agree, right? Some of
Yeah.
them are annoying. Let's talk about, I mean, because it's been a while and most people are now running Windows 11. Let's talk about some of the things that you might not notice in Windows 11 that are a godsend. Uh,
Okay.
and and maybe at least you'll learn to like these and they will help you.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
If you're a command line person, right? Uh, I don't think you need to install it because for me it was installed right after the installation, but I think it wasn't shipped with the original Windows 11. So I don't know if it depends on the age of Windows 11.
Mhm.
You can either download it through the Windows Store or just update it. They have something called Windows Terminal. Finally, they have a fantastic terminal that you can work within and do command line work very conveniently and customize it so it'll work the way you want. Um, SSH connections to Linux machines work fantastically. This might be very niche, so that's just a
Yeah.
tidbit.
I think I
PowerShell works
saw it.
very
Yeah.
well. Another thing is just click on your keyboard on instead of Control V for pasting, right? Uh, do Windows and V. For the first time, you'll be asked if you want to turn on the clipboard manager. And I would suggest, yes, enable the clipboard manager. Understand that everything that's going into the clipboard is going to preserve there
Yeah.
for a while. It cleans up after a day or two or something like that. I don't remember the timing. But trust me, once you start using Windows V instead of Control V for pasting, uh, you will not go back.
But that
Start
was available in Windows 10 too.
It was, but people weren't using it back then either.
Yeah. Okay.
Another feature is, by the way it works in Windows 11 is even better than how it works in Windows 10 because it has additional features that weren't available then.
Okay.
Another thing is the Windows key and dot on your keyboard. Not the one with the delete button, but the one with the greater less greater than sign.
Mhm.
Uh, that will pull up the emoji keyboard for you. So
Oh,
if a
wow.
software you are working with does not have emoji support built in, you can still use emojis
Huh.
if that's your thing. Um, and it also has a GIF keyboard. Little things. One more thing is take your mouse and hover over, don't click, hover over the maximize button. That will present with different layouts of screen splitting, and the block you're going to choose, that is where the window you are hovering above will go. And then it'll also present you with questions of, okay, what do you want to go on the other section? And you can very, very quickly organize the windows on your screen. The different layouts, they change depending on the size of the size of shape or shape, like alignment of your screen. That that alone is fantastic. I think this is the best ever alternative to maximizing because especially as screens today they grow and you can put more on them. This is a great way to manage it, and in a very, very simplistic, non-technical. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to learn a new set of keyboard matches, uh, and you might accidentally discover it just by hesitating for a second before clicking on the maximize button. So I think they did a great job there.
All right. Well, I'm sure that there are things that are nice about it as far as additions.
I mean,
But
let's be realistic. With every change, we're gonna see things that we don't
yeah,
like.
right.
Let's focus on what we can enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, no, I agree 100%. I agree 100.
Can I pivot and talk about something that I did this week that I was really excited about?
Absolutely.
So I know I talked about beforehand that I was learning Power Automate. Well, I finally got it to work um, for scraping website information. So I read a lot of stories online and story like fictional stories, not articles and news stuff or whatever. Anyways, all of these stories, creative writing stories have titles, obviously. So what I'll do is I'll bookmark a story that I finished reading
Mhm.
on my phone and it just saves the link or whatever. But I do that because then when I find another story, I can type it into my search bar, the title of the story, and if it comes up in my bookmarks, then that means I've already read it, so I won't read it again. Anyways, so I've got no joke, like 1,000 bookmarks to stories
Jeez.
that I've read. And this is like over a span of 10 years or whatever, because I've had an Apple iPhone and it just like carries over. Anyways, so what I wanted to do was I wanted to get all of that information into an Excel document to and I what I would like to do is to get the link to the story, the title of the story, the author, and the summary, so that I could go through the information. Anyways, that's going to be a lot of work. So I figured out I wrote a Power Automate script, and there's probably a really easy way to do this, but remember, I know nothing. I'm learning all of this as I go. And so there was probably an easier way to do this, but I got my bookmark on Firefox that has all my bookmarks, and I wrote a Power Automate script to copy the links and upload it into Excel document. So it did all that, and it was like 800 and some links. And then I wrote another Power Automate script that would open up each link. It would find the title and the author information and put it into another Excel document. But I remember last week I was talking about how the Excel thing, it was like not working because of Windows and OneDrive, blah, 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 blah. But what was really amazing is that some because I read the stories from such a long time ago, some of them got deleted. Some of them are private stories now, meaning you can't access them unless you have like a password or something. Anyways, there's different. It's not just opening up to the same page because that the Power Automate I had it set up to where like it would open up the page and the website would be formatted the same way essentially. It'd be like in the CSS or HTML find the title and it'll always be labeled title. But if there was a if the story was deleted, it would error message or error website would pop up. So what was great about Power Automate is that I could have a thing where it would look for words. If it found these words or found these sentences, then to run a different script. So every time it would run into like a new web page, I could have it restart the script and then highlight that link in my Excel document to be like, hey, this link is broken. There's something wrong with it. But then it would keep going. So that what is it called? That auto feature where it was like, because I would have the website would have the same phrases like arrow 404. This website didn't load. Please go back or whatever. And so every time it would read that, it would know to start the script over again. Anyways, I did all that stuff and it worked and I was really excited and I felt like a hacker. And I was like, wow, this power. And I'm sure because like I was trying to figure out an easy way to do it. And maybe not an easy way, but like people were like, oh, well, you could write a Python script, you could do this, that, and other thing. And I'm like, yeah, but the whole point of me using Power Automate is to use what I have and to make it easy and to make it troubleshoot. And I got it, like I said, I've got the whole thing done, and I was really proud of myself. And so now I have an Excel document with all of my stories on it. And what I would like to do is post it for other people that want to read stories or whatever that are interested in the stuff that I like.
Well,
So
Awesome, because doing it with Python or anything else will be harder, not easier.
okay, okay, good. Because and see, this is where I use Chat GPT. I actually asked Chat GPT. Here's my problem is I don't know what I don't know, which kind of is like duh. But when I try to Google like, can you do this? It gives me like solutions, but it doesn't explain it, if that makes sense. So I was kind of like, okay, this is what I want to do. How am I going to do this? And so I went to GPT and I asked it. I was like, here's my problem. Is there a way to scrape information and can you give me suggestions? And so it listed like, yeah, sure, you could do this. You could do it. And one the top suggestion was Power Automate. So he's like, you could do Power Automate, you could do Python, you could do blah 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 blah. Listed all these things, and I was like, okay, tell me more about Power Automate. How would I do this with Power Automate? And then it would give me suggestions on what to do, and then I could Google how to do it. So it was I was using it as like my personal assistant to ask it questions just to help me figure out, is this even possible? Like what, I don't even know what I would look up because when I type into Google, well, sometimes I don't even know the words, like the terminology. It'll give me something completely different. I'm like, no, that's not what I want. Like technically, yes, that is the term for this industry, but that's not the industry I'm interested in.
I
well, you are in good company.
Yeah, yeah. I almost reached out to you guys. I was like, but I was like, I gotta figure this out. And thankfully, Chat GP or the AI came through, so I didn't have to bother you
Listen
guys.
to this. A judge in Colombia used ChatGPT to make a court ruling in what is apparently the first time a legal decision has been made with the help of an AI text generator, or at least first time we know about it. Judge Juan Manuel Padilla Garcia, who presides over the First Circuit Court in the city of Cartagena, said he used the AI tool to pose legal questions about the case and included its responses in his decisions. That's according to a court document from January 30th. So he used ChatGPT, GPT asked it questions and used the answers in his decision. It's not that he let ChatGPT do the thing, the make the decision, but
Yeah,
he
yeah.
used the information. So he used it like a, like you said, like a
Like a search
person.
engine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
for a second. Has any other judge ever used Google in writing their decision
Never.
response? Come on.
No, no.
I think this is part of what's happening right now. It's we need to focus the conversation on how this is effective, where it is effective, and not is it right or wrong, because that part of the conversation of is it right or wrong, right? It doesn't really matter because it's going to happen anyway. So let's use it correctly, not whether we should use it or not, but how do we use it correctly? What Katie describes is exactly the way to use something like that.
Yeah.
The judge did is probably exactly the same to do it. He still inserts his own reasoning and whether it works, but he gets a personal assistant,
Mhm.
right, that will answer him questions
Right
that
away.
he can even ask stupid questions
Yeah.
and not be embarrassed about it, right? And get some answers and try to formulate, right? Because when we're thinking, when we're doing thinking work, right? It's a trial and error that happens inside our mind. It's a conversation we do with ourselves until we come up with maybe this solution will work or maybe this solution will work. And then we take it out and perform it, right? AI, I'm talking right now with the technology that we have right now. An AI like that helps progress that conversation like talking to a good friend, not necessarily a well-informed friend, right? But just speaking out, formulating the questions that we want to answer and stuff like that.
Mhm. Yep,
I love it.
yep.
And that's exactly how I use it too. It's so great at just asking random questions that I then go to Google to like get the specific stuff because I don't know if this has changed, but the information from ChatGPT is still from like 2021 or whatever.
Right.
It's like not the latest.
Yeah,
The information is still great. It's just
Is
technology changes so much that I'll just go to Google and ask for specifics, but it helps me get there.
I'm wondering if the fee-based ChatGPT now is the same way, if it's 2021.
I I think it
I don't
I
know.
think it
I
might
don't know.
be just because when I was looking up, it was giving priority. Like you pay for the convenience and the
Okay.
priority. I don't know if you have an article about this, but I read this morning that Microsoft Teams is incorporating Chat GPT.
For the salespeople, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know
Yeah.
how you incorporate it, or not how. Like I don't know how they utilize it. Like is it like a personal assistant where you can ask it questions? I don't know, but
It's to help them with sales. So who knows?
yeah, I'd be curious how they would use it.
Yeah.
Was
Time.
it going to be like I was told when I was work with salespeople? They said, "Don't confuse reality with selling." They honestly told me that because I went into a
Okay.
meeting and I had to explain why this person was interested in a feature, and I'm like, I knew this feature wasn't coming anytime soon.
Yeah.
And I started to talk about the timeline. He took me out of the meeting. Oh, no, you should have never told him that because now we'll never sell it. I said, but it's not going to be there. He said, don't confuse reality with selling. Whew.
All right, Spence, are you ready for specials?
I can be. It depends. You have to. I haven't renewed my contract.
It's fine.
I mean,
it's an automatic
my
thing.
financial advisor says don't go ahead without a signed
Yeah.
contract.
Are
Well,
you ready?
I'm in Tom Brady mode now.
All right. Here we go.
Because I reluctantly came back from retirement because, all right. Well, I did a one pager, but so all the things we mentioned here are are at Staples because it was the easiest place to go to in my stupor this morning. Let me make this bigger. But anything that says ISO means in store only.
Oh, okay.
But there's only one thing at the bottom that's actually from
Let's get
Amazon.
to it one at a time.
One at a time. One at a time. All right. So a couple of, I mean, finding good deals on laptops, I understand, and following every week has been hard. It's just the supply chain. If you go to some websites and you look at show me laptops on sale, they have more stuff that says out of stock than they have in stock. So it's kind of interesting. But we've got at hold on a second. I need to reposition myself here. There we go. At Staples, this is in store only. We have an HP 15.6 inch laptop, Intel Core i5, 8 gig, 256 SSD, on sale, $130 off of $499. We've got a Lenovo 15.6, and they did have 14-inch. And I remember we were talking about this last week during specials about it seems like more product is defaulting down to 14-inch. But I like 15.6. I don't have a 17, but I would prefer to have a 17 if it was a desktop replacement. So I could have that and another monitor, maybe two other
I'm sure you
monitors.
can find it.
Oh yeah, no, I can. Well, you can, but it seemed like more and more people are leaning toward that. Used to be more money for a 14,
Yeah.
right? Remember, the smaller screen costs more. All right, so this is also a 15.6 Lenovo IdeaPad 3i. This is an i3 processor, 8 gig of memory and SSD for $399, which is $150 off. It's my old mantra here. If you're not backing your stuff up, very bad idea. Take advantage. $66.99, $16 off a Seagate One Touch 2 terabyte external hard drive. Even if this is all you do, you're doing something. I mean, it's always good to have an offsite backup, but have something running in the background.
Mhm.
And Amnon, you and I really like that second copy software.
Yeah.
I have it running on all my machines.
Yep.
It just looks for a flag that says a file's been changed, saves a copy of it
Right away.
automatically.
Does
In the
yeah.
background right
Yep.
away. It just
Yep.
goes. So if you want to go find a file, oh, I don't know what, you just go to that file on your wherever you're keeping the backup, and it's there.
Yeah.
It's not encrypted. It's not behind a program. Oh, nice stuff.
Yep.
All right. I'm an iPad fan, but I've always purchased the 10.9. Um, this is like the entry level machine. The smaller ones with a better processor and better graphics cost more than this particular model. But this is the Generation 10 iPad 10.9, 64 gig. It usually, I don't know if it comes with 32 anymore in the Gen 10. I have the two that I have are both 32 gig, a little short on memory. It would be better to have more. It does do an interesting thing though. If there's a software or a program that you're using, an app that you don't use it often, it automatically saves it in the cloud so that you save storage. So if you want to open it, you click on it, downloads it from the cloud, and you go. It doesn't change, your settings don't change. It remembers everything about that app. But it's a really clever way for you to have a pretty good experience on a machine that has lower memory. But this is a uh, Gen 10, 10.9, $50 off for $399. All right. Getting into some networking and streaming here. We've got TP-Link Archer AX3000 Wi-Fi 6 dual band wireless router. This is one step up from the one that I have, which is also an AX. It's an AX2000. These are great little routers, wireless routers. This one in particular has a few more features than the one I have. Has a single USB port for sharing devices on the network, and it is not USB 3. This one has a USB 3 port, which is nice. So this is $30 off, usually $139 for $109. I really like the interface on these two. It's very simple. And if you have more than one that are wired in the house, you just turn on smart handoff, and it will automatically treat it as a mesh with the same SSID. It's very, very handy. Two entry level, I say entry level, but they're both 4K. Entry level streaming devices. One is the Roku streaming stick 4K, $10 off for $39.99, and then the Amazon Fire Stick 4K. This is a great price for not an Amazon special out there. This is normally $49.99. It's $20 off, $29.99 for the 4K version. I have one of these. I didn't upgrade the rest of mine, but considerably faster processor.
Nice.
I like the keyboard, or I like the remote better with this. I would recommend it if you do get the remote, buy one of the little sleeves for it. They just sell all kinds of sleeves. They're really inexpensive.
Oh, are you saying the remote is separate? It's not coming. It's not
No.
a set like the Roku
No,
one.
there's a stick in the background, and then you have the separate remote. The stick you see laying on its side.
No. What I'm saying, you have to buy them separately, or it's a kit.
No. I'm just saying is that this one comes with.
Oh, okay. Right.
There's 3 different remotes that Amazon sells.
No. Never mind. You said if you get the remote, then I would get that. That's makes it sound like
no. I mean, if I would recommend that you get a sleeve for it to protect it, and plus you could get them color coded, which helps if you have a lot of remotes that look the same.
Okay.
So that you can pick the right one. All right, and we also have an Amazon Echo Show, $40 off. Normally $84.99 for $44.99. That's a second generation. I'm not sure what generation they're in now. It's a Show 5. And finally, this is for you, Amnon. This is your new setup for the show. This gaming chair. It's only $36.39.
Perfect. I want it. I could
Isn't that amazing?
I can order it with my smart toilet too.
Yeah. No, this one comes with a smart toilet option.
It's built in.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You don't even have to get up.
Wait a minute. Have you guys seen what is the movie? Idiocracy or whatever? There was this movie that came out like 10 years ago or whatever it is. And it was set in the future. And they basically, this was it, the chair, but it had a built-in toilet.
That was a great movie, but it was predicting the future, and the future's come true.
Yeah.
So, in a lot of ways. And we have a free Wi-Fi special offer today. Sign up today. Trust me at Xi Jinping.
Z.
Yeah. So the balloon we saw going over was actually just it's the start of a new service, a new Wi-Fi service. So you can sign up. It's free today. There's absolutely no risk to any type of security on your machine. It's all It's a weather balloon. Okay, no worries. So I love watching the video of it being shot down. I just wish it was done over Alaska instead of in the ocean.
Oh,
Could have retrieved it. But all right, so there's a quickie little specials there for you.
thank you, Spence.
And next time I have to do it, it's double what I'm getting paid now.
Okay. Uh, agreed.
I had to go out in the backyard and dig up all my old files that I buried in the backyard.
John is asking what was the name of the backup software you mentioned?
Oh, it's called
called-
Second Copy.
Right. It's about $30.
Yeah. And you create profiles and it says, all right, monitor this specific folder, or you could say the whole machine.
Yeah, the whole
basically.
drive.
The whole drive. Anytime the flag changes on a file that says that it's been updated, save a copy of it to whatever destination you have. And you can set up multiple destinations. It doesn't care if it's a network drive. I have not tried it with a cloud service. I don't know. I think the newer one might support it.
I don't
The
know.
original version that I used years ago didn't exist. But if you can map a drive, it looks like a local drive, it will work.
Yep.
Yep. Very handy.
It's a very good program. I've been using it. Jeez, Spence, you introduced me
I-
to it, what, 15 more years ago?
Oh yeah, that was a Nortel thing. They gave us that with
Yeah,
our
and
corporate
it
laptops.
was-
Saved my butt
Yep.
several times.
Never looked
So-
back. It's a great program.
And speaking about files, remember I mentioned earlier that was finally getting into production with my Windows 11 laptop, my Lenovo laptop. And this morning when I went to go back to do the specials, I went to the folder where I had them. I'd moved all my files over from the old machine and the folder was empty. What is going on here? And now I thought about it. I remember what happened. When I first set this machine up, I logged
ahead.
into my Microsoft account. Right.
Oh,
Well, the default
OneDrive.
OneDrive
Yeah.
backs and syncs everything to the cloud. So I got a message saying OneDrive full. And I'm like, wait a second. I'm not even using OneDrive.
Yes, you
and-
are. We made you.
OneDrive is
am.
the bane of my existence.
Yes. So OneDrive is no longer running on this machine.
Yeah.
I mean, I will set it up and use it for some things, but for now, I got pissed off and I just turned it off.
Yep.
And now I know what happened, and I'll fix it. But
Yeah.
I got a call.
We're in the,
is that the OneDrive people calling?
who
Yeah.
injected that?
As Microsoft, they're going to take us out.
Coming
Yes.
from me, I'm gonna figure it out.
Did it come from you?
Yeah, that's why I'm muting.
Oh.
Uh,
That's
But
that.
if you
It's a
do- if you do set
familiar
up a new-
sound. It's a familiar sound.
My Google Voice.
It is.
But the warning is if you're going to migrate over to a Windows 11 machine from a 10 or any other environment, and you go in before you move your files over, go in and set up OneDrive to be the way you want it to be. If you want everything to sync to the cloud, fine. But if you need more disk space,
No, if you want everything to sync to the cloud, first of all, you have to pay for more space.
right, and that's the whole thing. If they want you, they hit you right away,
Yeah.
and it's like, wait a second, how can
Well,
I be
okay,
out of space?
I have a question about this OneDrive business. Why is it that my desktop, when I go to my desktop link in my Explorer, whatever,
Shows
it's-
OneDrive first
Yeah, why?
because they want you to use it.
Yeah, but how do I not? I don't.
I uninstall it on all my
That's what I
machines.
do.
I
yeah.
uninstall, completely uninstall. Go to the apps
You can
and
customize it
find
though, I'm sure. but-
OneDrive and uninstall it.
I had just assumed you couldn't because it was a Microsoft thing.
No, you can.
Well, okay. So here's the thing: when you install Windows 11 today, it makes it really,
Even Windows 10.
really,
Oh.
really hard not to install it with a Windows with a Microsoft account.
Yes.
Right? So the first thing is to try everything you can do to do an installation without that. that at least doesn't phone home immediately and connects you to the
That's what
Microsoft
I
account
did.
and all that. And it's possible with Windows 11.
Yeah.
It's just hard. There's a
Yes.
set of keys that you need to open a shell window, run a command, reboot during the setup, and then you get the option of not connecting to the network. I've tried it this time and it worked, and I'm glad for it. And
S-
then the next thing is, yeah, uninstall OneDrive.
I I did an upgrade from 10 to 11,
Yeah,
and I guess it followed it and it didn't do it. But
right,
you
because you
what?
were already set up with the
Yeah.
local
So
account.
you're saying if you install 11 from scratch, it
It
doesn't, and it
even
asks
if you
you,
don't have a network connection, Wi-Fi or connect or
yeah,
wired, it'll get stuck. It'll say go. It'll tell you switch on your phone's hotspot and connect to the internet. Like
you're
do
kidding me.
everything possible to connect to the internet. And so I read about it because it
Wow.
annoyed the hell out of me.
Yeah.
I remember in a previous installation of Windows 11 that when it was disconnected, it provided the option of I don't have internet. In order to get that I don't have internet, you need to, when you get to the point where it's asking for network connection, Shift F10 during the setup opens up a troubleshooting console, like a command line that allows you to run commands to whatever you're running in the background. And there's a batch script that you can run that exists there that changes they call it OOBE, the out of box experience. That what happens, all of the setup process that happens after the first reboot of the setup,
Mhm.
that's called OOBE. And there's a way of telling it allow, basically bypass the Microsoft login. And so to do that, it reboots again, loads OOBE from scratch. You need to answer all of the initial questions, keyboard setup, stuff like that. And then when it gets to the network and you're not connected, you still need to be not connected, right?
Right.
It'll show the I do not have internet option.
Okay.
Well,
So
Try to set up the machine with a local user
You
without
can't.
that is that to get to that option, that's what you need to do,
Yeah.
Yep.
right? That's
It's
the only
insane.
way.
well, I just
It
went
is
and
insane.
uninstalled OneDrive on this computer, so
That's
I'll
it.
report
Yeah,
back.
that you can do after the fact, but you had to create a Microsoft account, right?
Well,
For
my
that
I
machine.
bought my computer from Costco, so like everything was already
Yeah.
uploaded and all that stuff.
No, when you install
Well,
the
no, you
OS,
get so when you booted up the machine from Costco, it asks you a bunch of questions. Connect to your Wi-Fi and then log into your Microsoft account.
and you
That
have to
connect to
do
your
that. It will
Wi-Fi,
not let you not. It's it just keeps saying create an account, create an account, create an account.
right? So Shift F10, right? And then you write a command OOBE backslash and some bypass. You can use tab completion or you can do just a dir in
well,
OOBE
you
slash
have to.
bypass.
No, no. Wait a second, Gal. You can't say it like this. Either you have the command or you
I
don't
have the
do it. You
command.
have to
I mean,
find
do
it.
you
Yeah.
think somebody that's listening is right now following these
Yeah.
instructions? They need to boot into it and find it.
Right.
It's under OOBE folder. When you do a Shift F10, you get a command line. If you do a dir in OOBE, you will see that there are a bunch of commands. The command starts with the word bypass. I don't remember the complete word. You can use tab completion to find it, or you can use this dir to find it. OOBE backslash bypass something, right? Uh, if you look for
Okay.
how
Yeah.
to do it
That's
online, you
that's
will find.
right. That's what it says. It says in command prompt type the OOBE backslash bypass NRO.
Right. So after you do that, you reboot again to that same process that you got from Costco when you switched on the laptop. This time, if you do not provide a network connection, there is an option. It doesn't look like a button, it looks like a link that says, I do not have internet. When you click on that, it'll say, we can allow you to do like a less we do not recommend it, but there's an option. And then you click on another link that looks like a link and not like a button, because the button looks like take me back to safety or something like that. So yeah, it tries to force you
I think they should
very
change the
insistent.
command line, Amnon,
Huh?
to say change the command line to say bypass SOL.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing. I just put what I search for. I
Now I'm
just search for
curious if that power automate issue I was having last week where it could not work with OneDrive.
it wasn't
And
saving.
yeah, it wasn't saving. It was freaking out. I wonder if it's fixed now. I had to take it off. I had to take it off of OneDrive or take it off of my computer, which was all hooked up to OneDrive apparently, and put it on Dropbox to get it to work, which is another cloud service. But for whatever reason, it works on Dropbox, but it won't work on OneDrive, which is a Microsoft product. Ugh.
And did you say that it wouldn't work on if you try to save it to your local drive?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing, and that's when I found out that
No,
everything
no.
on my no, it was, but I
If
put
you created the folder in your desktop, it's still under OneDrive. If you created in the C root,
Right.
I
that is
did.
completely outside of it.
I did, and it still didn't work.
I remember you mentioning that, but uh, I don't know. It just sounds strange that it didn't allow you there. That means it wasn't related to OneDrive. It was something else. But somehow removing OneDrive solved your issue. So I'm not sure.
I don't
Cool.
know. I don't know. Like
If it works, don't fix it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it just was really stupid that the
Uh,
Microsoft ecosystem wasn't working with Microsoft
that's
ecosystem.
nothing new, but it's stupid. Yeah.
No,
All
you're
right.
stupid.
This is let's break away from it. BMW i4 owner was rightfully puzzled when their car flashed a strange alert on the screen saying its parking spot was too steep to perform an over-the-air software upgrade.
What?
How does that happen? And why is it a problem in the first place? As Claire Eliza found out, it simply isn't possible to remotely update any of the i4 software if the car isn't parked on a flat ground. And
Okay. I think I understand. When you're upgrading firmware, right?
Yeah.
There's a reboot process.
Yeah.
And if there's a sensor
Yeah.
that might be out of alignment after the reboot, right? You don't want to do that. So I'm guessing they messed up a few cars before that
Well,
alert came on.
Either that or it goes to a diagnostic where it puts it in neutral and takes
but
off the
here,
parking brake.
but here is the thing. As it turns out, BMW doesn't have one singular reason why the vehicle can't perform this task on the incline. Rather, the limitation is there as a safety blanket. They
Yeah,
were
they don't
saying
know
that
if
it has
it'll.
nothing to do with the sensors and this and that and the other, but they said that it's a safety thing. I don't know, but it's
It
weird.
means they've never tested it. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I would
In
go with
software
that.
speak, that's what it means,
Yeah.
right? When a company says we can't support something, doesn't mean it won't work. It means we've never tested it. We do not care to test it. And if you tell us that you did that, our first reaction is going to do and say, revert that, right?
Yeah.
Don't do that. So that's basically what it says. It means we
Uh,
do not want that under our responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah. Gal, did you want to talk about your experience this week at all?
Sure. Yeah, I'll talk about my experience.
Well, I mean, it's up to
So
you.
I think it was Wednesday. Well, let's start Tuesday. Tuesday morning, I wake up, I open my phone, and I see notifications about fraudulent credit card activity. Uh, this was on my wife's card. We spent the morning, dealing with that. Phones, no money was taken. Fraud detection by credit card companies was stopped. I go to my computer. I notice, and I did not make that connection back then, but I noticed that the resolution on my computer is off. I use a very large screen. It works in 4K, and it was blown up. Um, Strange. I thought a problem with the screensaver. Um, Went on with my day. Next morning, I wake up. Nothing. Didn't see anything suspicious in my email. I wasn't looking, but like nothing came up. But I did come to my machine, and I noticed the resolution is off again. But not only that, is the web browser is open, and it's open on my son's email account. I thought, my son, and he already left for work. So it's like, my son has a computer like in the next room. He, I don't see a reason why he would open this. And it was open on his Gmail account. Our Gmail accounts are Google Workspaces back from when it was free. And so as an admin, I can undelete stuff that is marked permanently delete from the bin, from the trash bin. And so I go, I recover everything that was deleted in the last week, and I see 8 emails regarding credit card fraud, including one that says, "Okay, we approved the transaction," which luckily was not approved. And so I understood that somebody used my machine, remote controlled into it. That's why the resolution got changed, because they couldn't see on a very large screen what's going on. So, stupidly enough for them, because that's how I detected it, they changed the resolution. They used my open tabs, because I stupidly did not have a lock on my home computer, because I trust my home, right, and my setup. And so they used that in order to bypass that. How did they get the credit card numbers? I believe they used the password vault, which was also open on my machine for myself. So yes, my password vault, like, definitely played against me. Anyway, uh, that prompted me to try to figure out. First of all, it's a very bad feeling, right? Invasion of your own space that you've set up as a safe space.
Wait, how did they get into your computer to begin with?
Exactly. That's what I was trying to figure out. So if I was suspicious of remote control software that I'm using, I had AnyDesk installed, and I can log in. I can log in using my own passwords, but it does have two-factor authentication, and it's like, and I checked the logs, nothing. Like, the logs didn't have a gap, and I did not see any other connection other than the one that I use uh, from time to time. So it wasn't any desk. So that was my initial knee jerk reaction. I was looking for others, maybe stuff that I'm using for work and something like that. Nothing panned out. I did, however, install some software during the past week, and I did get it from a shady place. Now, usually, I'm really, really safe with that. If I try something shady, I tried in a VM. This one, stupidly enough, I did not. Even though antivirus was on and did stop a lot of the content that seemed malicious, probably there was something that did pass, and that's my guess. It's like some sort of malware that I brought in.
Mm.
So yes, most of the security attacks, they come from within. That's what it means. Comes from within. It's somebody making your internal system vulnerable. Anyway, that prompted me to reinstall Windows 11 because I did not want to take the chance that I left anything open there.
Although they
Uh,
did.
but yeah, of course. I like once you're infected, right? I like
Yeah, you
you
have to do
don't
a clean install.
Compromise.
don't yeah. There's no you need to be safe.
That's
Better
so
safe than
scary.
sorry. It
I
is.
would have
Uh,
flipped out. I would have called Omnon, and then I would have called you probably.
well, luckily I'm my own Amnon in this case, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I knew how to deal with, but it did take me like a complete day to get back to a system that I can continue and work with it.
And
And
what
I use
did you
this system
do? Tell
for
us
everything.
what you did differently now.
So even on my own machine, everything gets locked now. My password vaults, they get locked. Yes, with a pin, I don't need to enter the long password every time. I
Mhm.
just need things to not be easily accessible
Right.
when I'm away, right? And I need it to be easily accessible for me while I'm working. But uh, uh, so
It's a balance.
Windows itself has Windows 11. I think it was there in 10 as well. They call it Windows Hello. It's the whole sign-in process. It has the option of locking with a PIN instead of typing the
Mhm.
large password. That password is basically also encrypted behind a short PIN, and that is evaluated locally, never over the network. So you can use a PIN to lock out your computer. Yes, even if it's you are the only person at home that are using this computer, um, probably safer to have your computer locked when you're away 15, 40 minutes. It doesn't really matter, but just have it locked. If you're using a password vault, yes, have it locked. Bitwarden can allow locking with a PIN separately. It also allows locking with the Windows Hello function. So you only need to remember, one PIN. So it also knows how to hook to that system. So now everything gets locked when I'm away. I mean, now when I step out and we go out, my wife asks me, "Did you lock the computer?" It's like
Good.
she's worried about it. She's really worried about it. Uh,
Sure.
so now I do that at home as well.
And the
And don't
screensaver
don't install anything from a shady place unless you're doing it inside a VM,
or on
right?
another computer
That
if you're
is
trying.
that is not connected to the network.
Yeah.
Yeah, another computer, right? But make sure that you copied it over. It isn't connected to the network. It's like be safe about it. It's I did something stupid and I almost paid for it. Luckily, regular measures were done. Of course, I had to change passwords for a lot of important things because I do not really know if they really accessed the password vault, if they knew what the password vault was, but they definitely got hold of my wife's credit card number and my son's credit card number. And yes, these are available in my password vault,
Only?
right? So it's not this is the only place where it will be on this machine,
Okay.
right? Um, so
Hmm.
yeah, it was a strange experience. It was blocked, but I am definitely more vulnerable than I was before because I do not know what they took from my password vault or if they even touched it. Because it was open on that machine, they could have gone through a few and clicked it. I do not have a way of seeing what they did. So, um, yeah, scary. It happens. It even happens to me that I preach, use a password vault and all that.
Yeah. Well,
Uh, use a password vault and lock it.
Al, are you going to provide some public service announcements now?
I think I've done it too many times already.
Oh, I
But
tell
look
you,
at me. Trust
no,
me, I was hurt.
I'm not one of those people. Certain things I have mental blocks where I don't learn after one mistake.
I know, I know.
I
That's
just,
literally
it's,
what happens to me, right? I did something I knew I shouldn't do, and
yeah.
it bit me. So
That's okay. That's how you learn, and thank God it
If
wasn't
you're open
bad
to
worse than
learning,
that.
like I'm not
Listen
necessarily.
to what I say, but don't watch me too closely.
Listen to what I say, not what I do, or something.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Yeah, and like you put in the group, the first thing that anybody can do is make your screensaver require a password when you
Yeah.
come back. I
Now,
mean, most
don't don't compromise for a short password, right?
right.
Because that can still be hacked. But if you use a password and a pin in Windows, that option, then that is safer, right? So if you want something short and sweet in order to just re-log in while you're already logged in and all that, use a pin. There's the safety measure of that is insurmountably higher as long as you have a long password for the machine login. Okay, just understand that. That has to
But
do with the way the network communication can be hacked if the password is short. And that does not require remote access. So if we're talking about just somebody punching in something into the console, right? That is different than doing a hack through the network. And that's not what happened here. It's like somebody opened a portal that allowed them to enter my network, right? Bypass my firewall and all that because it came from my machine going out, and because the machine was already open, they could roam free. If that machine would have been locked, that wouldn't have happened. I would have known. I wouldn't have known even that had happened. Maybe the screen resolution would tick off something, but I would see the screen resolution change. I will probably reset it. At one time, it'll annoy me and I'll reinstall everything because I couldn't get rid of it, but I wouldn't know I was hacked.
mhm.
So it's just try to be safe, right?
I tell you what
And
I'd
figure
like.
out what basic safety looks like.
I tell you what I'd like to see. I mean, a lot of us leave the computer on at night because it does backup.
Right?
What I'd like to see is a two-stage or three-stage, whatever you want to call it, of that sign in. If you're working, if during the day you're working, you can say that the screensaver when it comes on, if it was if the screensaver was on for half an hour, when I come back, yeah, I can just put my pin. If the screensaver was for an hour, I want it to require a password and a pin.
You can do that.
You can?
Yeah, because you can set your computer to just shut off your screen or go to sleep, right?
Yeah.
And when it wakes up from sleep, the requirement can be different than when it comes back
Oh, okay.
from the screensaver.
Okay. All right, that's good to know. I didn't think about that. That's right.
I think that's possible. I'm not sure, but it's
Oh,
like I don't send my machine to sleep because of other reasons, right?
I don't
So for
either. I
me, it's
mean,
always the screensaver. It's
yeah,
well, sort of, right? Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. And remember, even if you're using just the pin, you need to do it on all the machines at home that are on the network.
Yes.
And it's fine. This is, you know, keys on each room kind of thing.
Yes, especially if each room has a safe,
Yeah,
right? So like,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
I mean, you can leave the door to your toilet unlocked. That's fine,
No, I
All
need to
right.
protect my $15,000 toilet that I didn't buy.
unless you bought the $15,000.
Yeah.
Now we were talking about ChatGPT. ChatGPT is estimated to have reached 100 million monthly active users in January, just 2
Dang.
months after launch, making it the fastest growing consumer application in history, according to UBS study on Wednesday. That's coming from Reuters. So ChatGPT is the fastest growing
That would
application.
that would
Wow.
explain why it kept going down on me in January. I would go on there and be like, "We're at max capacity. Please check back later."
Yeah, well, yeah. Let's see what else do we have here. Now, what is a
Uh,
Gen Z?
That's Gen Z. They're like born in 2001 or something.
Oh, so it says more than a third, 37% of Gen Zers feel their school education didn't prepare them with the digital skills they need to propel their career, according to Dell Technologies international survey of more than 15,000 adults ages 18 to 26 across 15 countries. That's a big sample. A majority of this generation added that they had very basic to no digital skills education. It's all led to some warranted skepticism regarding the future of work. Many Gen Zers are unsure what the digital economy will look like, and 33% have little to no confidence that the government investments in a digital future will be successful in 10 years.
Instagram and TikTok.
Yep.
Wait, I'm confused. What? Like, that doesn't make any sense because Gen Z, they were the generation that got Chromebooks and got
But that doesn't mean that
Apple.
they educated them into what to do with other. They used it as a book or as a, as a tool to learn, not to study digital information.
Well,
Well,
that's less about Gen Z and more about the education system because uh, everybody for years has been saying that the U.S. education system is training kids how to pass tests, not real life. It's like everybody goes through these hiccups, or every generation goes through this hiccup or whatever, where they enter the real world and the generation's like, wait a minute, this isn't what I signed up for.
well,
Well, a lot
Yeah,
of it has.
the way I read it is simple: is the younger generation is blaming the older generation that didn't prepare them.
yeah.
Show me a young generation that ever said
Uh,
differently about their
Yeah,
older
that's what I'm
generation,
saying.
right?
I am saying that it happens every
I'm
year.
not saying they're wrong, by the way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
They're
yeah, yeah.
completely right, but it has nothing to do with an alternative way to do it.
Yeah, because my generation, I'm in the millennials. We were the same way when we entered in the workforce. We're like, wait a minute, this isn't what we signed up for. Now it's Gen Z's turn because they're graduating college and they're like, wait a minute. But
Well,
yeah, throw technology into the mix.
could have a lot to
yeah,
do with well, first of all, it's a moving target,
it
right?
always is.
Always a moving target, but the kind of things that the expectation I think that's out there is that you're going to go to a company that's going to welcome you in, and it's going to be like working at Google, and I'm going to have all these resources and free lunch and all this other
There
stuff.
is nothing welcoming about going to work in Google,
Oh,
so don't use that
what
as
I'm saying is they have this idea of, oh, I work at this place that has ping pong and massage chairs and all this, and that's not the reality. And plus, they're not. Everybody is not being prepared. The trades are lacking so much and are a good place to work to make good money and do work with your hands. And it's unfortunately, it's been, even when I was in high school, I was interested in becoming an electrician, and there was training, uh, uh, vocationally training available when I was in high school. No, 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 you're college material. No, no, you don't want to do that, because they were measured based on how many kids went to college.
Yep.
Well, I went to college and I didn't like it. But I could have gone. I have friends that went and became carpenters and electricians and plumbers who own their own businesses now, and are usually successful. So I'm on a micro rant because micro talks about this all the time about you can make seven figures or six figures, I should say, six figures as a welder easily. And
And
people
not
who do
only
it,
that is we need welders.
we
So
need
stop
welders
saying
desperately.
you need
Yes.
something else, right?
Yes.
It's like,
Yep.
yes,
Everybody
everybody
can't.
can be.
So I think the expectation is in a digital world is that you go and you have oh, I'm going to get this great job where I'm going to be able to work from home and I have, I can sit in front of my computer all day and I can do whatever I need to do to work. Well, that works for many people. I did it at one point in my career, but most of my career I spent outbound with customers and traveling and doing all these other things. It's hard. I really feel for them because
You know,
the-
I think you're right that it almost feels like a swing because the people or the adults that are telling the children in the school this is what the career is supposed to be, but that's the career now. Like when I was in school it was like all
Not even
digital,
that.
this is what we're going to do, and then but we've already taken those jobs that they said that the Gen Z should have. So now instead of we need digital jobs or whatever, it's like, well, like you said, carpenters and welders and stuff, but that's not what they told them. You know what I mean? It's like they're
A
behind a
fantasy.
generation.
No, it's a fantasy. It's
Yeah.
like
Yep.
those who weren't successful in whatever they chose or whatever path in life they took, right? They have a fantasy of what looks like a successful life, and everybody's trying for the same fantasy,
Mhm.
and that's bullshit.
Right.
It's as simple as
could
that.
it be the influencer fantasy?
That's part of it,
It's
definitely.
I'm going to be famous. I just have to pick the
Yeah.
right thing and I'll be out there. And
yeah.
In the 80s, it was be a Hollywood actor, right?
What are you talking about,
Until
Spence? You
that
are an
bubble was burst.
influencer. You're
what?
online talking about stuff and people are
Yeah,
listening
but
to
I
you.
don't make any money at it. That's not my career. I do it because it's fun.
Yeah, well. Yeah, that's a lot of influencers. Not only the top
Shh, don't
1%
tell
get
them.
paid.
All right. This is something that I saw this morning. Facebook can secretly drain its users' cell phone battery, a former employee contends in a lawsuit. The practice known as negative testing allows tech companies to surreptitiously run down someone's mobile juice in the name of testing features or issues such as how fast their app runs or how an image might load, according to data scientist George Hayward. I said to the manager, this can harm somebody. And she said, by harming a few, we can help the greater masses.
Oh,
Mm, that sounds like
really?
dystopian.
He
I mean,
claims in a Manhattan federal court lawsuit that he was fired in November for refusing to participate in negative testing.
Wow.
I
Huh?
like I don't know what to
What to think?
uh no, how to react to it. It's like there's nothing about what he says that is incorrect, right? What he says is it's correct about every single software we're talking about because the moment we allow automatic updates, right?
Yeah,
Then
that's
that
right.
means the company can do whatever it wants with the next update,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't really matter. So is it about draining? So they wrote a subroutine that actually drains the battery.
So you'll have to buy a
Okay,
new iPhone. Yeah, they did it.
yeah,
Okay.
but that sounds like I mean that means nothing. That's I think what we can take out of it is one thing is there is two ways of looking at software, right? And one is whatever you do, try to have some sort of control of the environment that you are running in. That means if the company you are running the software of does not allow you control, think twice whether you're allowing it to run or not, right? And the other side is I don't care, right? And I just take my money and I just want something that works and I don't care what's going on inside, right? Basically, like the
Yeah.
way we buy cars. Okay.
So am I old fashioned because I remember the days when you actually had a beta program where you put the product out there in people's hands to
That
try?
doesn't exist anymore.
I know, but I'm saying it's like the
Yeah.
fact that I have no problem with testing anything as long as you know that you're part of the test group. But the
So
fact that they're willing to just say, well,
nobody,
we're going to hurt some people to help other people without those
I'm
people
pretty
knowing.
sure there's a checkbox somewhere in the app that allows you to opt out. It's probably
You're probably right.
dug deep, like 10 layers of menus deep, and it's probably there, right? And
Let's
that
hope.
is what writes them off as, hey, this is okay, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But then, it's either go the Apple way of this is the way the software works, right? If you don't like it, don't use it. Uh, all we care about is for you to pay us, do it the way we want to. And the other end of it is the Richard Stallman way of software must be free 100% of the time, right? Free as in open, as in accessible, as the source code can be seen by others, not necessarily as free as you do not have to pay for it, but it's like they like to say free as in speech and not free as in beer, right? So uh, just find the balance.
Savvy
The fact that
Apple
Facebook says
iPhone users know that you don't take the first version of the new release. They've had
yeah,
what is it? What's the latest one on the iPhone now? 16?
have your own.
I don't remember, but it's up to, it went from I didn't do 16.1. I reluctantly put 16.2 on there because there were things that I wanted. But that all happened within the space of like 3 months. But from 16.2 to 16.3 was a week because they introduced stuff. Oh, we have these new features to show you now, like within a week of a major release. But it was really about bug
Yeah.
fixes. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. All right. Netflix. New Netflix rules that would have enforced a limitation on users sharing passwords are reportedly a mistake and don't apply in the US for now.
Sure.
For now. Netflix has
I
long
wonder
been
the amount of energy that is
being
spent
exerted.
on talking about this, right? I wonder if they internally do invest that amount of energy about it, because I doubt that fixing this problem is going to save them
To save them. Yeah.
the extra buck that they are looking for.
Yeah, I know
But
a lot of
anyway,
people cancel.
it's interesting here. Netflix has long been planning to cut down on password sharing or letting friends share one paid account. The company appeared to go further, however, with the inclusion in its help pages of a new set of rules. Broadly, anyone at a subscriber's physical address could continue using the service. But the paying subscriber would have to confirm every 31 days that a user away from their residence, such as at college, was part of the household.
That's good.
Well,
That's
according
okay.
to
That's not unreasonable.
Yeah.
no, it's not. But it's interesting that these things are coming up. According to the Streamable, Netflix says it was all a mistake for the
No.
United States.
It's a weather balloon.
Yeah. For a brief time yesterday, which was last week, a help center article containing information that is only applicable to Chile, Costa Rica, and Peru went live in other countries. We have since updated it. So that's what's coming.
It wasn't a mistake. They
But
saw
now-
people
but-
freaking out and they backpedaled.
But here now I'm wondering, let's say Katie, your mom has a Netflix, and she wants you to be part of it.
I am.
Yeah,
Mom and
right
I share a
now,
password. Yeah.
right now. But
Yep.
when the time comes, they're not going to let you because they're going to see a different IP address. So I'm thinking, well,
I'm none.
yeah,
Everybody has at least two different IP addresses when they're away from home.
that's
I don't.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also, too, I don't know how
So
this is gonna work
I don't know,
because
but here,
technically my mom, she comes over to my house, right?
but here
So
is
so
it's simpler. What happens if I have a Netflix account? Hannah lives in the house, but she has her own internet account.
yep.
See,
And not only that, but like I just said, so my mom will come over. So is Netflix saying that if my mom comes over to my house, she can't use her Netflix account
we
on my TV?
we're just gonna have to wait and see how they put it into.
You
That's why
know,
it's taking them time
this
the
because
reason they're saying it's a mistake is easy. They allowed a certain behavior up until a certain point,
right,
right? And trying to curb that is going to be problematic. Now, if they're trying to do it in a different region where they are just introducing the service, and this is the terms they're introducing the service in, right?
that's fine. Yeah,
Then they can try whatever they
yeah,
want, and
sure.
that probably is what's behind this was a mistake. But it wasn't a mistake in terms of, oh, we switched it on by mistake for the states. It was definitely a mistake of we thought we'll get away with it, and
Yep.
we didn't. Right?
Yep.
That was the mistake. Uh, whether they came up of the solution for the states, no, I'm pretty sure they came up of okay, let's do this in a region or whatever, and they decided let's see what will happen if we do it in the states, and it backfired. That's clear.
Oh.
Plausible deniability. That's part of public facing stock holding companies, right? That's the only way they can do something without being sued. So they
we're
need some sort of plausible deniability.
we're just
That's
gonna have
all.
to wait and see what they when they do change it. They keep on saying we're gonna
They will.
enforce.
Look,
They still, yeah,
there's a
yeah,
very easy way of solving this. Hike the price, right? Ask for $30. Say you get 5 accounts, right?
yep.
You get 5 accounts. Do whatever you want to do with those 5 accounts, but you got to pay $30, right? Then that is the exact reaction that is going to happen with a $15 account, and you have only one account that can log in from one IP. The result is going to be to the bottom line pretty much the same. They think that they can translate it to you won't be able to mess with us. The moment
Yeah.
you are not
I
tying it
hope
to a
that's not.
MAC address or something, right? And you decide that it's okay, like go through the cable version of it. Sell boxes, right? And then only the box you bought will work.
The
Yeah,
thing
There
is,
are other ways of solving it. Nobody wants them.
the thing is that the consumer has alternatives now. So
Exactly.
yeah,
so if people are unhappy with Netflix, just cancel. And
yep,
and
and they do.
everybody, unfortunately for Netflix, everybody else is caught up. Like everybody else is a streaming service. So they can drop Netflix and they can go to Paramount, they can go to Discovery, they could I mean, heck, they can even do cable, TV, YouTube TV now and stuff like that, and then they only sub to Netflix when their shows come out. Like they won't have this perpetual convenient license because that's the thing where I think a lot of Netflix and these streaming services make their money is that people have them for convenience. I have it for convenience. As soon as it's not convenient anymore, I drop it. I don't care what the content is on there because there's other ways for me to get the content.
It's a
So
luxury service.
exactly.
Let's be clear about this. This is a
Yep.
luxury service.
Yeah,
Yep.
yep. All right, got your comments on this. Organizations using Microsoft Defender for endpoint will now be able to isolate Linux devices from their networks to stop bad actors from remotely connecting to them. The device isolation capability, now they're talking about a device, not piece of software, is in
Yeah,
public
no.
preview and mirrors what the product already does for Windows system. Some attack scenarios may require you to isolate a device from the network. That's what Microsoft wrote. This action can help prevent the attacker from controlling the compromised device and performing further activities such as data exfiltration and lateral movement. Just like in Windows devices, this device isolation feature, intruders won't be able to connect to the device or run operations like assuming unauthorized control of the system or stealing sensitive data. Microsoft claims that.
I'm
So,
thinking, so I'm hearing, right? The thing about notices like this, then don't talk about the how. They talk about what. Uh, if I'm reading between the line, they're talking about all of the embedded devices that
devices,
have embedded Linux, like a webcam or
right?
right or uh,
Refrigerator,
yeah, something that runs as some sort of open source stack, probably an outdated one. Uh, those can be identified by their MAC addresses as being a non-Windows machine, right?
mhm,
I mean, theoretically. So I am guessing that it's just going to block whatever cannot be
identified as who is it?
identified as a PC,
Yeah,
as a laptop or something like that, by default, um, through their software firewall. Good. I have no problem. I just hope they'll make it clear uh, when a connection is trying to be established for the first time, right? To allow people to allow certain types of
yeah, and to
connection,
say
right,
this
to
one
these
is okay.
devices
Yeah,
and not make it. They've. Let me put this. Microsoft, when it comes to security and securing a desktop machine by default or a laptop by default, they've done a pretty good job. I have no real complaints about how they're dealing with their Defender uh, uh, program and the firewall, the default firewall rules on the machine. It's a resource hog, but it's a resource hog exactly the same way as any other antivirus software.
oh,
So it's not doing anything worse than any of the other antiviruses software. I think they actually do some of it very well. So yeah, sounds
oh,
like a good thing for once.
well, well, I guess we'll see. But it's a device. It's not piece of software. Just so people understand.
Yeah, so that's
Uh,
why I'm saying because they mentioned device, I'm thinking they're doing it based on MAC addresses. That's my gut feeling.
yeah. Um, ChatGPT. This is for you, Katie. ChatGPT creator OpenAI released last Tuesday a free web-based tool designed to help educators and others figure out if a particular chunk of text was written by human or a machine.
Hmm,
So they have it apparently on their website that you can find out.
that's cool.
Well, and as far as breaking in this week, I mean, I have sports fashion retailer JD Sports has confirmed bad actors broke into a system that contained data on a whopping 10 million customers, but no payment information was among the mix. They always say that. That's uh that's a given in the beginning.
Did you talk about the LastPass breach?
The
Like
n-
updates about it?
Not LastPass. We talked about LastPass. This one is KeePass. I have
KeePass.
yeah. The development team behind the open source password management software KeePass, KEE,
Yeah, yeah.
is disputing what is described as a newly found vulnerability that allows attackers to stealthily export the entire database in plain text. KeePass is a very popular open source password manager that allows you to manage your passwords using a locally stored database rather than a cloud hosted one, such as LastPass or Bitwarden. To secure these local databases, users can encrypt them using a master password so that malware or a threat actor can't just steal the database and automatically gain access to the passwords stored within it. The new vulnerability that is tracked as CVE 2023, blah, 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 and it enables threat actors with right access to a target system to alter the KeePass XML configuration file and inject a malicious trigger that would export the database, including all username and passwords in clear text. The next time
Yeah.
the target launches KeePass and enters the master password to open and decrypt the database, the export rule will be triggered. And the content of the database will be saved to a file the attackers can later exfiltrate to a system under their control. However, this export process launches in the background without the user being notified or KeePass requesting the master password to be entered as confirmation before exporting, allowing the threat actor to quietly gain access to all the stored passwords.
Okay, so I'm reading the dispute.
Yeah.
This it's a problematic one. Uh, I I don't think I agree here with the KeePass developers, but I get their point. But their stance is you're talking about stupid layman mistakes, and we do not protect stupid laymen. Like that's their stance, and I hate it. I do get that the so the process of doing that is changing the configuration file, right?
Yep.
And then which is not encrypted. It's not part of the vault itself.
It's an
And
XML file.
that configuration file can have an auto export option, and that doesn't prompt for anything. I am guessing that this will change, by the way. Like because of this notification. I agree, it's fishy. Um, it it requires somebody to really target whoever's being
And they have to be compromised already because they said that only somebody with right permission that they
right.
can write.
Somebody needs to. So, for example, in my case, with the breach that happened to me, somebody used the machine as if it was me.
Mhm.
In that case, yes, they will have access. They will be able to do that and take that. And if they identify where my KeePass database is, they will definitely have been able to do that. Right? Uh, is it any different than anything else? I do not know, but definitely it's about uh, after you gained complete access to the machine. Um, does it downplay it? I'm not so sure. It's this is interesting because I do not see a way of preventing it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like if somebody have access, it's not if the configuration was part of the encrypted vault, easy, right? Because you need access to the vault to start with in order to get that data. Um, then that that becomes very safe because it's within the vault. First, you need to unencrypt the vault. here it says we can set it up and so that when you unencrypt the vault, I get a copy.
Yeah.
That's a big one. That's a
Oh,
big one. And
so
I'm guessing that this CVE, even though it's disputed, there's gonna be
it's gonna be actionable.
implementations because remember we're talking about open source software. There's more than one version of this software. Are they talking specifically?
They're
Which version are they
they're
talking?
not
They're not talking
talking.
about KC, right?
They're not mentioning that. They said it's CVE 2023-24055.
Yeah. So KeePass XC, which is one of the more
Okay.
popular clients, is not affected by this because it works differently. It
Okay.
doesn't support those triggers.
Okay.
So this is a good example. Don't use the main branch. Use the other implementations that are more secure, right? Simple, right? There's already a solution. And
Okay.
it's not as if you're going to need to learn anything new. KC, it's just a a nicer version of KeePass. So in terms of UI, you're not getting something completely different. It's just you're getting something more secure.
Okay. So what were you going to say about
About
uh, the other
KC,
no,
XC,
no,
sorry.
the other
Last.
vault, LastPass.
So I've what I see about LastPass is literally every week there's some sort of note that the engineers in LastPass are admitting that the breach is a lot worse than they said it was before.
Oh,
Yeah. I haven't I can't find it right now. That's why I was asking if you talked about it because then I'll
we
have some sort of
mentioned that
reference.
I don't remember if that was it, but I mean, yeah, we talked about LastPass in the past, last week or 2 weeks ago. But interesting, very interesting, very okay. All right. Anything else, Spence? You've been quiet.
I've been listening.
Oh, okay. Anything you wanted to add before we wind down?
Don't shoot at the moon. It's not a balloon.
Okay.
Did you hear? What was it? Something happened recently where somebody, I remember it was a story about how they were shooting at some Navy somewhere, saw something in the sky and it kept shooting at it, thinking it was whatever it was. It turned out to be Venus.
Are you serious?
I'll find it. I just came across the story.
I wonder where all these projectiles landed.
That's a good question.
Dang. All right. Katie, anything you want to add?
Nope, I was just excited that I got Power Automate to work. And now I'm going through and learning how to use Excel. And can I say it is the most frustrating software? I I think I'm realizing that I was used to the original Excel like when it first came out, and so it wasn't super complicated to use. But now it has evolved into something that I can't just open and use. It's so complicated. Because this is what I want to do. What I want I it's just a lot. So I've had to Google a bunch of stuff, and there's formulas, and there's codes, and there's
There was
macros.
always,
Yeah, but it was
I
always
know.
that way.
Well, apparently I just used it to enter in
And,
data,
and
and now
again, that is what you need to do. You shouldn't have to figure out everything. You need to figure out how to do what you want to do. Don't look at all the other bells
well,
and
here's the
whistles.
thing. The first thing I had it do what and this was so I copied a bunch of text, right? And
Yeah.
I pasted it into a cell, and unfortunately it made it a big paragraph
Right.
cell. And I was like, that's not what I want. I wanted to put it individual cells, and I had to look up how to do that, but apparently this
Yes.
didn't work, and this
Yes.
and that. And then eventually, it took me a few days, but I got it to work.
But
Apparently, there was a bug in Excel.
that was always like that. You had to
Yeah.
have all kind of unprintable characters between words if you want it to be in a different
Well,
cell.
here's the thing. The data was
That's
separated by a new line, and
new line in the same cell.
yeah,
Yeah.
and everybody online's like, "Oh, it's easy. You just have to do delimiters and do this, that, and other thing," and that's all great. Except when I follow the instructions, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Why doesn't it work?" And then I found again a random thread that people like. This random Reddit thread somewhere was like, "Why isn't this working? I don't understand. I'm following all these instructions." Basically me, but they
Yeah.
went online and asked, and the person was like, "Oh, it's because there's a bug in Excel where you have to click on the cell with the information. You just have to delete a character and retype it, and then it works." I was like, "What?" And it
What?
worked. And
Really?
it worked.
Wow.
I was like, oh, and apparently it's been a bug for years, and this is what I'm dealing with. So next week I'll let you
That's
know
good.
how it goes.
Okay. All
It
right.
just
Well,
makes me
good.
really angry.
Good. Good. Gail, anything you want to add?
No.
All right. Well, it's that time of day. So again, thanks, Katie, Gail, Spence. And again, happy birthday, Nick, if you're listening. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Donna, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov and Yael. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive, update your virus scanner, and change your password if you're using the same passwords where you use them. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Again, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM in Wilmington with his daily news broadcast. And you can tell your Echo device to play 980 The Wave and listen to him, I guess, anywhere. And Tuesday evening, 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection podcast on Twitch. And that's for survival game, gaming news, and a little bit of politics. So 7 p.m. Tuesday evening, twitch.tv/infection podcast. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. And we'll be back with you next Sunday.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.